What is going on, everyone? Mike Singer, Tim Hyde with this week's Notre Dame football show here on YouTube. Pod Like a Champion for those listening via podcast. It is a great day to talk Notre Dame football. We are just 10 days away from Notre Dame versus Navy. More importantly, my 30th birthday. But seriously, looking forward to a fun time. Tim, it's been a week since you were on our show last, or on our YouTube last, and I know you want to give a public apology to the Notre Dame football show community, or the Notre Dame football show sponsored by the Steve Angeli Foundation, for your comments last week, because you got suspended without pay for a few days. If I don't know if you wanted to make your public apology.
No, I guess I got to go back and rewatch that segment and break it down a little bit more. So
That was so much fun.
no comment on the 2023, as I said last week. So here we go. We'll worry about whatever happens down the road, right? But hey, real quick, you said 10 days, Mike. Literally, what it's I was reading online today. There are going to be teams in Ireland a week from today. So here we are. 7 days, they touch down in Dublin and start getting ready to get those sea legs ready to play a little football. So we love it. Hey, we love you. Look at all these guys. 10 days.
Joey says, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Please do, folks. Very appreciated. One more thing. I've been getting roasted for two things in the past week. One,
Yes.
everyone just was coming to Tim Hyde. I mean, poor Tim Hyde.
Okay.
And just coming to his defense in the YouTube comments and everything. Just,
I'll be okay.
Tim, yeah. I'm so sorry for bullying you last week. The other thing I was getting roasted for was me not watching the program.
Yes.
I'm going to be completely honest with everyone. Never even heard of it before. I had never heard of the movie. I think for a lot of people, you saw it when it came out, or, someone made you watch it. Like, my parents were not football people.
Yeah.
So I didn't have, remember the Titans, Rudy, those to me, I did see growing up, that's the pinnacle of football movies. The program was not very good. I'm sorry.
Mike, it's the program. It's just
I bet for the time that was an amazing movie 30 years ago. All of the stereotypes about college football. I mean, was I entertained? Yes. Was it, again, for its time, I'm sure it was a fantastic movie, but watching it in 360p, not very good quality on YouTube, and today's age was not. But I was entertained. It was a cool movie. So I did get to watch it begrudgingly.
One of those,
I was bullied into it.
You want to talk about a good football movie? It doesn't get mentioned enough. I know all the elderly people, such as myself, that are over 25 in the chat. Great. One of Tom Cruise's first movies. One of my all-time favorites is All the Right Moves. Classic movie, way back when. So you want to watch an old iconic football movie, Tom Cruise, and he's like 20. So it's awesome. That's a good one from the early 80s.
Two more things on this before we move on. One, someone commented that I just cried laughing. Someone commented on the show last week after we were live and said, according to Mike Singer, history only starts after 1993. I thought that was hysterical. I about fell out of my chair laughing. But look, I mean, I can only know what I know. I mean, no one had ever told me about the movie. So, but you guys did, and I watched it. Two, the next time Goolsby, or you for that matter, but you usually don't do this. Usually Goolsby says, "Hey, Mike, do you know X?" I'm just going to say I refuse to comment.
Yeah.
So if you were about to ask me, Mike, have you seen this movie with Tom Cruise? Whether I have or not, I refuse to answer that question anymore.
I didn't say yeah. All I said it was a good one to put on your list.
Yeah, I'm just
high school football movie.
And maybe I have seen it. Ask me if I've watched Friday Night Lights. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm not asking. Oh, have you seen Friday Night Lights, Mike?
Tim, I declined to comment.
Sounds like a Senate hearing all of a sudden. I love it.
Well, Tim, on this show, for our post-game show, it's shirt and tie. For our midweek shows, we're going collared shirts, right? and I am just wearing a t-shirt. You might be thinking to yourself, I'm sure everyone is, why the heck is Mike Singer just wearing a t-shirt? And that's because I got some gear. And I'm breaking a rule. I usually do not do Homer apparel on in a public setting, or I should say a work setting, right? Where I have Notre Dame shirts, I wear them out all the time, but not in a, and I'm breaking the rule. I have my Homefield apparel Irish shirt that I got, and folks, I'm going to be completely honest with you, it looks and feels fantastic. Tim, I know you should be getting yours soon, so maybe we can see Tim Hyde in a Homefield shirt. And I also have. Hold on, let me go back to full screen for folks watching on YouTube. I also have this nice long sleeve shirt. I mean, Tim, look at this 1842. I didn't even know 1842 existed because I only thought history started after 93. But in all seriousness, this home field apparel it is really fantastic. It's a new sponsor for Blue and Gold. They're based out of Indiana. And they have officially licensed Notre Dame clothing, and it's comfortable too. And not just Notre Dame, a bunch of other schools as well. So if you want to buy something for yourself and maybe a loved one as well, you can definitely do that. Website to visit is homefieldapparel.com. Search in Notre Dame and you'll find that. I really need this Notre Dame Fighting Irish tennis crew neck. So if someone from Homefield is watching or listening to this ad back, send Mike Singer the Notre Dame tennis crew neck. I'm a married guy, so I don't need to worry about pulling in the ladies, but I do have that to wear to impress myself because I think it's fantastic. One of the great things is their designs. I love their Notre Dame designs. Again, especially that crew neck. Good old school Notre Dame designs. Good, creative, unique, and thoughtful stuff. And this is the best thing, folks. When you use the promo code BLUEGOLD23, that's one word, BLUEGOLD23, you will get 15% off your first order with Homefield. The site's easy to navigate, and you can find the perfect college football gear you need to complete your game day outfit. Be prepared this fall by shopping at homefieldapparel.com, and make sure you use the promo code BLUEGOLD23 for 15% off your purchase. Yes, Ian says Mike Singer with the drip. Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, this feels fantastic. I've already done the ad read. I'm just talking to you guys like it really does feel great. Okay, let's talk some Notre Dame football now. So you watched all of my Sunday show with Goolsby, correct?
Yeah. It took about 3 or 4 days, but it was good.
It was a long show.
No, I know. I started to watch a little bit of it late that night, and then I obviously when it ended, and I was like, my God, an hour 45. I was like, Singer going the long show. So it was good. It was good. And then I rewatched it this morning just to check out I forgot to write down Goolsby's grades, so I had to rehash some of those and get a few of his fine pointers on a few. So no, it was a fun show. It was one I know he and I chatted about like 6 weeks ago, starting to talk about grades for positions. So it was a fun one.
And Tim, you asked me to make that graphic for the show, and I forgot. So we're gonna see if Mike Singer can multitask and make. And it's not going to be some fancy graphic. It's just just information. So Goolsby gave his position grades. We went position by position. He gave his grades again. A was playoff caliber / NFL guys. B is a top 25 unit in the country. C is average, and D is just yikes, right? So we're going to do that with Hyde, but since we're not going to go an hour 45, we're going to go a little bit more rapid fire on this. So we will start, Tim, with the safety position.
Same thing.
Give us your thoughts on this group, and then let's hear your grade as well.
Goolsby gave a B-. I went B. This is when I went a hair higher, top 25. Believe me, it's right in that range. Everything Mike talked about was spot on. I just gave a little higher unit grade because of experience. They got some dudes that have played a lot of football. You're talking about DJ Brown, Ramon Henderson. Obviously, Watts has been on the field a ton, and it's you could say the second year of Golden, it's really the third year with Freeman as well. So Henderson played a bunch back then, DJ Brown. So I just went with the experience with those guys. Really like, obviously, the transfer they got in, Carter, heck of an athlete. I, I don't expect him to be a guy early on, as he's still transitioning coming in the summer, but athletically, and they got 2 years that he's going to be around. And if push comes to shove, they have to push, Thomas Harper from Oklahoma State, who's been a multi-year starter for them. So I just went overall B just because of the depth. And really, I'm a huge, huge Xavier Watts fan. I know Goolsby and I have been, high on him for ages. God, we used to text like crazy during the games, like, why isn't this guy playing way more? And then finally at the end of the year, we started to do that. I'm a big believer that I think he's going to be one of those NFL contract guys, meaning he's a senior. I would not be surprised if Xavier Watts has a huge year, takes that big senior year, and he goes pro. That's kind of one of my predictions. And there's a handful of seniors like Xavier, I think, that have the possibility of doing that with the big year. So I would be experienced, and Xavier Watts, I think, is a heck of a football player.
Okay, and the cornerback spot, I feel like this is Tim. Is it crazy to you that, like, when we started doing shows with you and stuff, like the cornerback position, if you did like a listing of the best positions on the Notre Dame roster, corner would usually be one of the worst. And now, do you think it's is it the best unit on the team?
Yeah, well, we just go back, a year plus ago, right? When we started talking about last season, it was like, oh my God, who the heck's DBs? Because all we had in mind was the Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
The worst defensive. It's like they didn't even play defense. It was brutal. And those guys were all coming back. So it was supposed to be bad last year. And those guys rallied, obviously got their, tails coached off, and they played amazing football last year for the most part. And unbelievable athletes. So Goolsby went A. I went A-. I went a hair lower. I'll probably get yelled at, and that's okay. I went a hair lower because of Cam Hart. I know he's a captain, fifth-year guy, but Cam would be in the NFL right now if he didn't get injured. So I'm sticking with, does he miss time? And if he has to miss time because he does have an injury, bug that he's had over time, can Mickey be a guy? And that's a question mark to me, because he's going to get picked on like crazy if he is. And then you got Lewis. If they have to play Lewis back at corner, I went back and watched the bowl game last night. I was up late, just want to watch some football. Broke down the bowl game. Yeah, Mike, that's what I do at night. I was texting Goolsby's. We were breaking down the infamous Aztec package together. And Lewis gets torched on one, has a bad read. I still have, PTSD from the Fiesta Bowl. So if Hart or Morrison go down, can they survive with some of those backups? Depth is solid. Don't get me wrong. They got depth. Lewis has played a ton. Mickey is a battler. Christian Gray, obviously, we have high hopes for him, and he's the fifth guy, which is crazy. So I went A-. It's a heck of a group. Going back to your question, yeah, it's a strength, and it looks to be one in the future.
Yeah. Thoughts on Mike Goolsby calling you his best friend?
Yeah, you know what? God, we have talked. I mean, it's true story. I mean, Mike was right. I even showed my wife. My wife's like, my God, what are you doing? I love talking ball. I got a great buddy back in California I talk ball with like every 5 hours, I feel like. So Goolsby and I are just in a football mode. I told you, I've been saying it the last few Wednesdays. This has been the longest, I feel, most just dragging out off season on earth, and we're dying to get to football. So we have been talking a ton of football the last 30 days.
All right. And then the linebacker spot?
Oh, yeah. I went higher. I went A- on this one. I think it's a better group than people think. There's been a lot of media outlets have ranked them in the top 10, which I'm going with experience. I mean, check this out. You got 3 fifth-year seniors. No matter what people say, they're not coming off the field. And people aren't going to like that statement whatsoever. They're not coming off the field. You don't replace experience. And you got 3 dudes, Mike, 54 starts and 400 tackles. They're not going to bench any of those guys as much as everyone's talking about. We got to play the young guys. Young guys are going to get some playing time. They're going to, I think, Bowen's starting on a few special teams. Snead's going to be getting a package for him, which is totally noticeable in the bowl game. You see him flying around like crazy in that game against South Carolina. And I think Osbury, the same thing. I think he's on a special team or two, I think I've read. So those young guys are going to get their feet wet on special teams. In any games they could get in the fourth quarter, they'll get in there. But JD's a heck of a football player. You got a 2-time captain. Kaiser's solid. Maris does heck of a lot more than people think. And I'll watch film with anyone, and you can see the fits and the things that he does good. So does a lot more than just running into guards, believe it or not. And I posted on the board last week, like 5 plays. Like 5 plays, Maris gets no credit for, yet the impact that he had off of those, whether it's a blitz, some form of a pressure, a great counter fit he had against Clemson. Someone else got the TFL. Those always go as missed. So I'm going A- for experience and a heck of a lot of playing time that I think they're going to have this year. They're going to be great leaders too.
And you like Maris Leafow a lot more than Goolsby
Yeah,
does.
you know what? And God, man, we've had 422,000 texts about this in the last year, Goolsby and I get what Maris does. I see a ton of it. It's annoying. It's crazy. But when you take a step back sometimes, and Goolsby talked about this on the message board a week ago. Someone asked him about it, where Mike is coming from it from a captain at Notre Dame, a guy that played middle linebacker. And I totally understand where Mike's coming from. Of he would get cut block, get off the ball, and go make a tackle out there. Maris, there's probably some plays where Goolsby's like, man, he's got to make that play. Get off that block, go make the play. I get it. I'm watching it more from fit, havoc plays, a few different things that he does in the box. He makes a heck of a lot more checks than people give him credit for. You see him moving around out there a ton. So, yeah, I'm more on him for what I see him do on film for the overall defense. But what Goolsby says, I totally agree with him as well.
All right, and then the defensive line before we get to Trash, always putting out an interesting super chat for us as he does each and every show. Appreciate it, Trash. Defensive line.
Mike went B+, which I thought I went B-. I am obviously it sounds like they've wrecked a ton of havoc this camp, and is that more so to do with the question marks at guard, the question marks at backup offensive line? I think we've seen a lot of these guys make a lot of plays against the backups, and we'll see what they do when they start going against some of the bigger, some of the obviously Power 5 teams that we got going. Fantastic football players. Some of these dudes it's their time to shine. Like another example, Riley Mills, Xavier Watts. Riley Mills goes out. He's been playing for 4 years. Why does he need to come back for a 5th? So go out there, ball out, do what everyone's been expecting you to do, right? He was on the freaks list for the 2nd year in a row with Bruce Feldman. So it's like, go out there and shine. But for me, with the D-line, outside of Howard Cross, you got a hodgepodge of career backups. Really. Nana's a backup. Baptiste is a backup. Rubio's been a backup. Agne's been a backup. Jordan Botello, for as much as we want to talk about Botello, he's been he's been 2nd, 3rd string Rover for a couple of years. He was not a full-time Viper till about midpoint last season. So very talented. And then you really only got Cross. Cross and Mills has been a hybrid, moving him around from D-end to D-tackle. So he's never really been in one spot for one season.
Are you kind of knocking them for being backups? Like, I don't understand your point there.
Well, they haven't been dudes, have they? Nana's been there for 5 years. Has he been a dude? No.
Well, Nana, I get, but like a Rubio going in his 3rd year. So like you don't want Notre Dame to keep taking transfer quarterbacks because eventually you need to have someone play that you recruited, right? But you have to start for the first time at some point. Like everyone starts for the first time, and you become a dude when you start. So I would push back a little bit on that, but like a Nana career backup, yeah. But some guys, it makes sense. Like I think Gabriel Rubio, it makes sense that this might be his first year getting a lot more playing time.
And that's totally fine. I totally get it. And he's got obviously Cross, and you got Mills, you got you got a senior and a 4th year senior, a true senior in front of him. I get that. But at the same time, he hasn't, when I say dude, has been just, there's plenty of freshmen that have played that could come in at D tackle, line up, and just bull rush and dominate. He hasn't done that in a couple of years. So it has taken him a while. Agne's been a day one project. So we haven't seen him go live in a game, taking on a double team and trying to get off blocks. We haven't seen that. And the Vipers, to me, a lot of potential, zero clue. And, It really is. And I'm talking about, when I say a great, it's over the course of the season. Patella's got a ton of. Patella's been we all know he's been a special teams demon. He's been fun as could be to watch on special teams, punt, kickoff team. He is crazy. Had a heck of a bowl game. And once he got his feet rolling, he got dominated most of the game, except for a handful of plays. You could see the potential he has. So I'm going a little lower just because none of these dudes have just taken over games, I guess. So I guess that's what we want to see.
All right. Interesting super chat as always from Trash. They say Johnny Football put Texas A&M on the football Mac. I don't know who they are, but I'll continue. We'll play. Who are some of the Notre Dame players that put them on the map and made, quote, Notre Dame relevant again, unquote? Do you have thoughts on this, Tim?
Some of the players that put Notre Dame on the map and made again. So is he talking?
See, I just don't think Notre Dame wasn't. I don't know if Notre Dame wasn't ever not relevant, in my opinion.
So is he talking what Brady Quinn and Brady Quinn as a junior with Charlie Weiss that made Notre Dame relevant again?
Goolsby.
Obviously, that was a big thing. Not a lot of relevancy, I guess during a few other periods. Obviously, Manti Te'o.
Manti, Bettis.
Manti. Yeah, Bettis didn't make Notre Dame relevant. Notre Dame was the program back in those days when he went there. So obviously Tony Rice was a biggie in the mid '80s. Tim Brown winning the Heisman year 2 under Holtz in '87. And then you got to go some of those great early '60s. John Hewart, who won the Heisman in '64, brought Notre Dame back on the map after a decade of nothing. So those are just a few off the top. I would put Manti high, Brady Quinn with his 05 season definitely up there high.
Yeah, appreciate the super chat. Yeah, I the only thing I'd push back on is, and Kel says Trash could be referring to the Johnny documentary. Have not seen it yet, which must mean I don't know anything about football and I'm not a fan or a real fan of the game or something like that, since I haven't watched that. I'm trolling.
I haven't watched it either. I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, I plan to. I want to watch I heard really good things about the Kirk Cousins one, the quarterback one. I haven't seen that yet.
I'm on the final 2. That's the quarterback. Just quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, that's Netflix,
Mahomes, right? Yeah, Mahomes and Mariota on Netflix. Yeah, that's pretty good. I've watched.
Okay. But yeah, I just don't think Notre Dame's people will always use the term relevant incorrectly, like, oh, Notre Dame's irrelevant. What? Like, what the heck are you talking about? It's Notre freaking Dame. Like, it's very relevant all the time. Notre Dame could go 0-12 the next 4 seasons, and they will still be extremely relevant.
Exactly.
People will be talking about it so much. Like, look up the word relevant first. Yeah. Hey, Kevin, what's up? This is my man. This is my boy Kevin. Everyone say what's up to Kevin in the chat.
Well, what did he say about Kyron Williams? What was that?
Kyron Williams was a shout for him. He made Notre Dame cool. Like I think it's a good one.
I like that. Yeah, Kyron. I love Kyron Williams. Wow.
Mike with a $5 super chat says, worrying about guard play. Have heard good and bad in camp on Coogan, Trouth, Rocco. Christophic on a milk bottle?
Meaning he's missing.
Okay. Oh, a milk bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Also, before my time in the terms of the milk delivery boys, but got it. Or even, yes, ads on milk. Yep, got it. Can they be good in run power poll? Tim?
Well, are we going to the O-line group?
All right. We will in just a moment. Okay.
That's a great question for that group.
Yeah, give me a second, Mike. We will get to this
definitely
in just a second. Tim, I'll let you get a sip of water as we hear from our next sponsor. Really a great trio of sponsors we have for today's show. You guys know I love Augie's Locker Room. Head to the website, augieslockerroom.com. Folks, as you know, 10 days from now, if you're watching or listening on Wednesday, look, Notre Dame football season right around the corner. And when you come to South Bend, you seriously have to head over to Augie's Locker Room, 1811 South Bend Avenue. Super close to campus. They have the wide selection of Notre Dame stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockney items. You can even find exclusive Joe Montana sign items and famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues around the stadium. there's stuff from all sorts of price ranges here. So if you're balling on a budget or you got a big budget, there's stuff for you here. Or even if you're just kind of popping in, I'm sure Augie would appreciate that. And make sure you tell him that Mike Singer from Blue and Gold sent you. And Augie gets new stuff all of the time. And if the best thing about Augie is if he doesn't have it in his store, he is going to go and find it for you. But you got to stop in. You got to give him a call. You got to let him know you're looking for it. So visit Augie at 1811 South Bend Avenue and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. He's got some amazing stuff that you're going to want to check out. Give him a call, 574-277-6363. Again, 574-277-6363. Augie's Locker Room.com. D3GA says Augie's got some cool stuff. Joe Bro says, Mike, showing your age. Listen, like I said, guys, I'm 29 years old. I can only know what I know. I'm sorry. You guys continue to enlighten me on the things that I don't know. And Tim, I know you love doing that. So, yeah. So Tim, we'll have Tim hold me accountable as well. Yeah, going back to Mike's super chat here. Thoughts on this guard position, Tim? Are you concerned at all?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you have to be. You do. You have to be, and that's. Let's just go right to the O-line, right? I gave him an A- for this group. They got 2 first-round offensive tackles. They have a 5th-year senior center who, I'll be honest, I was pretty bummed he wasn't a captain. I think Zeke deserves to be a captain. I do. I think his path at Notre Dame over 4 years, heading into year 5, I think he deserved to be a captain. So I was a little surprised he wasn't one. But then it's guard, and it's exactly what what Mike is saying right here, Mike Nolan right here. Good and bad, exactly. Coogan comes from nowhere, basically 3rd string to taking it, which is like the head scratcher about Billy. Obviously, this is big. You have big spring and big camp, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan as a coach of players that step up and take the opportunity given to them. I think that is awesome for Pat Coogan. I really do. I think boom, here's your opportunity. You got to go out and make the blocks. You got to go out and beat someone out. Joe Rudolph owes nothing to nobody. He's a brand new coach. He can do what he wants, basically. He's coming in there. Obviously, he's got a great group, and he's not going to go crazy moving alt to center, but you know what I mean? He's got, hey, I'm a new coach. Come show me. And we have these open positions. Go ahead.
Let me ask you something real quick. Do you think the Coogan, and I think Goolsby touched on this as well, do you think Coogan likely starting at guard does signal this is a different, like schematically, we are different on the offensive line than compared to Harry Heaston?
Yeah, well, that goes back to the question about being a pulling team. Yeah, maybe they don't pull as much as, when Harry was there, and, Chip Long and, 17 when they pulled a ton, 18 team pulled a ton. But, yeah, maybe they just want beef. I know there's tons of people, Wisconsin pulled a lot. They didn't pull that much. They lined up and went straight ahead, ran outside zone, and ran power right down your throat. So maybe he just wants, bigger. Billy's a big dude. He's not a little tiny guy. Coogan is big dude. Spindler's way bigger than Christopher. Yeah. So that's the other thing. You got 2 big guys next to each other. Yeah, it's an interesting one because obviously you're going with 2 brand new dudes. Billy would have, Schroff would have been the same thing. Christophic just seems, Marcus Freeman talked about in his press conference, only 3 guards right now. They're looking for a 4th. So that tells you Christophic hasn't really done much. He's a 5th year. He's probably going to get his master's and move on. Carmody, I guess, was in the pit again. He's been in there a bunch. So it's looking like it's going to be those 3. How do they, rotate? I know Goolsby talked about him wanting to rotate guys. I'm totally against that. I would be like, no. You find your 5 and play them. Play them. If one goes out and lays an egg and he stinks, what does that say more about the guy behind him? Because he didn't get that opportunity, right? So I know people always like to talk about practice and Iverson quote and things of that nature, but it does matter in camp. Believe me, those coaches are great in inside run, drills, pass block. 1,000 things that they're grading. And for, I just keep going back to Coogan and Rocco because Rocco is like, oh, we're going to start Christophic. He's a 5th year guy. He played in 21. But both these guards, man, I mean, we're going to find out pretty soon, right? We're going to find out in 10 days against Navy and the 38 blitzes they're going to run up the A gap on them, how they pick it up and stuff like that. It's a little concerning. Footwork, they may not have the greatest footwork. Maybe they go tighter splits, but Mike, they're going to run. If Notre Dame Nation thought they ran duo a lot last year, it's going to be more this year. They're going to hammer the ball in the A gap and get running backs to make cutbacks. So I went A- just because of the unknown at guard, even more so at the backup position.
Okay. Tight end.
Yeah, I like the tight end room. I know Ghouls did a C. I went B. I think this is a top 25 room. I understand the career catches, but as Mike Singer just said a few minutes ago, you got to get your shot sometime. And I think that's Evans is very talented, very athletic. And it just sounds like, I know Tyler Horkus talked about Holden Stays a ton, and he's that rising sophomore that's looking like just taking over this camp when he's been in there and looks like an absolute dude. So you got to say potential, Notre Dame tight end those two guys right away. Couple injuries. Obviously I'm not expecting Reardon to be a guy. Obviously Bauman's out for the year, which means who was that guy Mike Singer talked about 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Flanagan.
As his freshman surprise.
I'm telling you, boys.
I know.
It's the dude.
Mr. Flanagan. You know what? He's starting on a special team. So that tells you right there he's going to burn his red shirt. So they're going to get him on the field to get him ready
for our segment in a little bit here.
No, I know. I'm sorry about that. But yeah.
I'm kidding.
He's playing. How's that, everybody?
Yeah.
So that means Flanagan's had a good enough camp to get on the field. So those three, some super talented, and Notre Dame always has good tight ends. So I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B with those guys.
You can be a tight end and just be a fantastic receiver, but if you can't block, you're not going to get on the field unless they flex you out. Like, so Flanagan has come in, and basically what I've told is that physically, when the day he stepped on campus, Notre Dame was just like, holy crap. Like, he really impressed them. Been told like his routes need cleaning up and pass catching, but he's already there as a blocker, and he still looks pretty good as a receiver. Not where he just got there. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. I was gonna say, real quick on Flanagan, a couple things. Number one, he's a De La Salle kid, so he's gonna come prepared.
And think about that offense they ran there, Tim. He had like 8 catches or something as a senior because they ran a veer triple option type deal.
And if people want to talk about route running and blah 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 blah, there's a guy who was a second-round pick named Troy Nicholas who came from Servite out of the Trinity League. Played defense as a freshman. Started games at outside backer as a freshman. Gets moved to tight end 2 years later as a second-round draft pick. So he caught 0 balls as a freshman and ended up being the number 2 tight end with Tyler Eifert in the 2012 team. So, yeah, I'm excited for Flanagan. I loved your pick when you did it a month ago. So it's great to see that he's going to be in that top 3.
All right, moving to the receivers.
Woo!
Okay, so as Hyde says, he and Goolsby text nonstop. It used to be I would get those texts too, and I kindly had to ask them on New Year's Eve last year, please stop. You guys are both great. I love you too a lot, but please take me off of that. I don't need this right now. My watch is buzzing nonstop, 60 texts in 2 minutes.
Football, baby. Football, Mike. It's football.
But Hyde did text
the group
texted the group after the Goolsby show and said, B- is kind. And then they started making fun of me for all sorts of things. Oh, Singer likes playing video games. And, just go talk about Taco Bell, Singer. They're just making fun of me. I'm the one who gets bullied around here. You guys are coming to defend Hyde. It's really me.
I love it.
Anyways, so, yeah, you switched up, though, because you were like B-. That's crazy. And now you're thinking, now you went with B-.
I'm going with Mr. Mike Goolsby philosophy, and I don't want hate mail. All right, I don't want the hate mail. So
I talked Goolsby into a B-, right?
Yes, you did. So yeah. I'm gonna. So technically, Mike and I are the same, solid C-ish, but because we don't want hate mail, B-. I'm actually going B- because of Sam Hartman. I think Sam Hartman. He got brought in obviously to win games, but he also got brought in to be the distributor, right? He got brought in to be that guy. That guy's got 45 starts. He's going into his 6th year. the guy that's seen every blitz, every front coverage, blah, 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 blah. He's done all that stuff. So his job is to be the Kobe Bryant for Notre Dame. I mean, Kobe didn't deliver the ball, but you know what I mean? He shot 62 a game. But, just to be that, that dominant alpha, like, guys, boom, I'm going to get you the ball, put the pressure on me. Let's go play ball. So I went B- because I think Hartman's going to – I think Hartman's going to have a heck of a year, and you can't have a heck of a year unless you have some wide receivers. And I think some of those dudes are going to step up.
So you're going B- because Hartman gives him a bump?
Yes. That's my bump. He's going to throw the ball up.
If you didn't know who the quarterback was, though, if you're just going based on the receiver talent.
Oh, God, it'd be a C+ if you're just going. Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, Mike was until he talked about hate mail, and I was like, I like that quote. And seriously, Jaden Thomas is going to be the boundary receiver. Is Jaden Thomas going to? So Jaden Thomas is going to be this year's Jeff Samardzija, Will Fuller, right? He's going to be Golden Tate played everywhere, but he was a boundary guy. So he's going to go the vertical routes. He's going to beat one-on-one, cover zero. Is Thomas going to do that? We'll find out. Tyree's the starting slot. He spent 3 years as a backup running back. Now he's all of a sudden going to be the go-to guy at slot. Merriweather has all the potential times 10, and we know that. We did the little quick 1-minute TikTok where I sprouted out 4 or 5 freshmen who had as many catches as Singer, and a sophomore, they get 1,000 yards. Can Tobias be that? So many guys have shot out in Notre Dame history and done that. Colsey's a question mark. Who knows? I mean, seriously, he's a question mark. And then you got 2 fantastic freshmen that have just done nothing but play their butts off since day one, right? Since January, Mike Singer has been talking to his sources in South Bend and whatnot, and they've all talked about those 2, and it's been the same all the way up until here in the getting ready for Navy. So those guys are going to be solid. There's going to hit that freshman wall we always talk about. Braylon James, Goolsby wants him to play. He's going to, it sounds like, touch the field against Tennessee State and then watch. So, which is too bad. For whatever reason, I've never understood Notre Dame just can't put a guy out there and just go run a streak. I'm going to chuck you the ball. And if Braylon James is as freakish as everyone says he is, just do it once a week, please. But I would say C+ when you're looking at a wide receiver room. But B- with Hartman because he's gonna make some plays.
So if B is a top 25 unit, then C+ would be what, like a top 40s?
Yeah, you're probably prepping for the what was the bowl they went to? The Iowa State Bowl or something.
Camping World.
Yeah, Camping World. You probably something like that. Even though Notre Dame was 18 for that bowl, 20 for that bowl. So just a C- for me. I've said it 1,000 times. Everyone that's watched our shows over the last year know it. Who is this dude that's going to make a DC sweat and have to stay up late and put an extra defensive package on him? Like right here, Jalen Hyatt. Boom. Andrew Gilmore just said the guy was electric. Does Notre Dame have that type of guy in the receiver room? I don't know.
If I'm just going based on this is what Goolsby set up with the ABCD. This is what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of talent, this has to be a top 25 unit, in my opinion. Like, you can tell me you're taking Maryland, like some fringe top 25 team. Like, come on.
Well, look at
Wake
Forest.
Based on this criteria, I think it's one of the 25 best receiver rooms in college football.
Well, look at Wake Forest wide receivers. Those dudes tore it up over the years. It hasn't mattered who's been the quarterback, by the way, Mike. I went back all the way to 17 when Notre Dame played Wake in 17 up until last year. They've had a couple seasons with multiple wide receivers with 1,000 yards at Wake. They've had some years with some studs. So is Wake a B wide receiver room? Not if you look at recruiting rankings. They're an oof if you're doing recruiting rankings. So the quarterbacks made them at Wake Forest over the years. And I think Hartman will do that. I don't know if this is it is on paper. Colsey's top 125. Merriweather's
I'm not talking about rankings. I don't think
no, but I'm just saying, but how is it a top 25 unit when they haven't done anything? Thomas has a handful of catches. Lorenzo Styles had more catches than Jaden Thomas. And I'm always being told Jaden Thomas is this go-to future NFL guy. Lauren Styles had more catches than Thomas beat.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I just think that the talent wise, in my opinion, I think it's one of the 25 best. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
And
But
that's
we'll
why
move on.
and that's why I'm a B minus. So maybe it's right there, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I think B minus is fair. I personally would say B.
gotcha.
But yeah, B minus is fine. And I'm pretty high on some of these guys. I really like what I've seen from Chris Tyree in camp. You hope that some of the freshmen, Greathouse and Flores, are ready for the bright
Yep.
lights. Um, you know, I'm higher on Colsey than you are.
Oh yeah.
So but B
But
minus.
Colsey it's like talking about Rubio, been there waiting for him, getting developed.
But
Is this junior year? Is he going to be the guy? Is he going to finally step up?
But when you think Deion Colsey last year, like 3rd and 15s, who is Drew Pine finding on those deep ends? So he had that nice touchdown catch against USC. So at times he's flashed.
Yes.
I'm just kind of hoping he can put it all together. We'll see.
And real quick on Chris Tyree. I know I haven't been the greatest Tyree fan in the world because that's just more to do with the cutback and the running back and things of that nature. But Chris Tyree, which I'll be honest, I went back about a week ago, just started looking up some Tyree stuff. He's got 2,700 yards, career total yards.
All purpose.
All purpose.
Yeah.
So you got a guy. You're right. You got a guy who's made plays, scored touchdowns. You got a guy who's nearly 3,000 career yards, which shows you. I mean, obviously he's been through the fire. He's been through a lot. So this could be a big breakout year, being that underneath, get the ball to him on a quick out route, a quick flat, turn it up and go. So he has that potential.
I'm excited about Chris Tyree. And Tim, I'm with you. I've been disappointed by his career, just in terms of like the expectations we had for him coming in.
Sure.
That recruiting win, top 3, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Alabama.
Yeah.
It just hasn't lived up to the hype, but I think he might have found a home at slot receiver, and he looks more natural there than I thought.
I like it.
Speaking of his old position, running back, A- from Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, I went a little higher in here. Just number one, Estime. I think I've been saying it. I'm going to pound the table on it. I think he's going to be this year's Kyron Williams. Give him the ball 220 times and let him hammer teams. I just hope we do this. I get the rotation last year because technically, I mean, we got to remember Estime had only played those couple snaps against Georgia Tech in the fourth quarter in 2021. So last year was his. He's a redshirt freshman, so he's getting on the field when it comes to playing time. And I think he's the dude. I really do. He stays healthy. I could see him having a 1,200 type yard season, just hammering it because of the unknowns, I guess, below, which is like, well, then why do you give him an A minus? I give him an A minus because it sounds like Ford's going to be one of the return guys. So you got a Penn State guy who's been obviously really good football at Penn State. So he knows what it sounds like. He's there. Price, I keep hearing is back, as you have said as well. Is he back to where he was last spring? He may be there, by the middle of the season, which is great. Give him a few games early on to rep. Payne, people always, I've been hearing on the message board, people are like, why is Payne always in the no huddle and stuff like that? That goes back to Coach McCullough. Obviously, they're resting Estime and whatnot, but Coach McCullough is raved about him as a pass blocker. So that, is a position that he could go in and be that quote-unquote NFL-style third down pack. Be a swing guy, but pass block. So, and then Love, there's the wild card, right?
Yeah.
If he keeps learning, see what he could do, right? They let Josh Adams run the ball, run that outside zone, and see if he could just run to the sideline, tippy-toe, turn it, and go 75. So, yeah, he has that potential.
So Tim gives the running back group an A minus.
Yeah.
If Love is your 5, your number 5 back, that might be the best number 5 back of all time. Like, holy crap! Like, he's looked good. And I was editing clips today from practice. Price, Ford, and Love were all returning. I think it was Love.
Okay.
It was Price and Ford, and it might have been Love, or maybe it was Payne. It looks like the running backs are kind of handling kickoff returns. Would be surprised to see Estime back there, but the other guys, they're.
Do not put Estime on special teams for crying out loud. Let him just.
I think I saw Pete Sampson say that Estime was like an up man or something, or a backup up man. Oh gosh, yeah, I don't want to see him on there.
Yeah, if Freeman allows that, no, there's plenty of dudes. But
All right.
but Freeman's talked about Ford. I think Ford's been one of those pleasant guys that came in late, and boom, he could play. He's played major Power 5 football, so it's a good depth behind Estime. But feed Estime, enjoy him while you can, give him a high five while he goes to the NFL.
All right, I'm fighting off a sneeze here, so let me say this real quick. Just the quarterback spot, Tim, you're A minus.
Yeah, I went A minus. I did the Goolsby. I was soft like Mike. I went A. Now it's an A. I think for Hartman, the experience, everything he brings to Notre Dame for this one.
Don't do it.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not
Go ahead. Say your piece, Tim.
No, I'm not gonna say it. I gave it an A minus just in case something happens, right? So I'm expecting Hartman to be a solid dude for 12 games. Andrew, who's always on, I love Andrew. How is it not an A? You could give it an A. I gave it an A minus. It's still an A. I give it an A minus because once again, I like to use if his belt buckle breaks, right? Is Angeli Minchie ready to go in and lead a drive, lead a quarter, lead a half? We don't know. So we'll find out. So you got to ding it down just a hair because of the unknown behind obviously Hartman. But I'm expecting Hartman to come in and have a heck of football season.
Okay. All right. So now, if Singer can figure out how to do this real quick. Like I said earlier, this graphic is not high quality. I made this in about 35 seconds while I'm producing a live show. So it's nothing special.
Ooh, look at that. A little purplish. I ain't going to LSU on this, Mike. What are you doing?
Again, I made it really fast. Where is okay, there it is. So this was the position grades for each Goolsby and Hyde, and I will read this again for podcast audience. A was playoff caliber / NFL guys. B is a top 25 unit. C is just average, and D, we didn't have any Ds, but that I just put oof. Okay. So Goolsby gave safeties a B minus. Hyde gives safeties a B. Big difference there. Goolsby gave the corners an A, Hyde an A minus. So it's just like recruiting rankings. Some of the websites just kind of, we'll just basically rank what the other guys rank. That's basically what you guys did. I'm kidding, Tim. Goolsby B plus on the linebackers, Hyde A minus on the linebackers, Goolsby B plus on the defensive line, Hyde a B minus. Basically the same grades. Any quick thoughts, Tim? Okay. All right. O-line, Goolsby gave an A, Hyde A minus. The biggest difference here was Goolsby a C on the tight ends. Hyde likes the tight ends a little bit more at a B. Wide receivers, they're in agreement, A minus. Goolsby gives the running backs a B plus, Hyde A minus for them, and then in agreement on the quarterbacks on an A minus. So there's your rundown.
Now, as a quick little breakdown of this in the great Blue and Gold magazine they do every year, the yearbook, Blue and Gold does it by star rankings: 5 stars, national champ; 4 stars, BCS. Now the yearbook, I went over all the rankings today. Only 4 stars, meaning top 10. Excuse me, top 10. I said BCS. My God, how old am I? Right, New Year's 6, future playoff. How's that, everybody? My Lord, get rid of the BCS. Hyde. Quarterback starter, a 4-star, so top 10. Quarterback overall, they gave a 4-star, so they would give an A overall. O-line depth, we talked about earlier, they gave a 4-star, and linebacker experience, which I highlighted as a 4-star. So those are the highest positions in the Blue and Gold yearbook, which I found interesting. So I just like that. I was looking at that today.
Andrew says, what is your grade for the coaching staff? Thank you for the super chat, Andrew.
Yeah, we'll let you know Stanford. If it's a late night kickoff, we'll see you guys around 11:30 at night, and we'll talk. So literally, I hate to be a cop-out, Andrew, but we have no clue, right? We have
no clue.
Yeah, we have no clue. That's why I say Stanford. We'll find out Stanford where this team is. Preseason top 13. You're 13 in the AP. You're basically saying that's a 10-2. Notre Dame beat one, lost a couple. They're saying that's a 10-2, 9-3. If that's a 9-3, Notre Dame will be number 20ish. I bet you the polls will slap them down. So when I see number 13 in the AP, I'll say 10-2. So everyone's thinking they're going to go 10-2. This is a New Year's Six football team, according to the experts.
All right, so I'm going to give you another quick water sip as we hear from our final sponsor of today's show. And it's, of course, the Rogue Shop, the husband and wife outfit. Mr. Rogue and his wife, Char, are craft cannabis farmers who specialize in small batch, sustainable plant medicine, a true holistic type of small business. They farm and grow everything themselves. Website to visit, folks, rogueshop.com, and you're going to want to plug in the promo code blue and gold. That's all one word, blue and gold, for 10% off your order. They sell everything from CBD to THC edibles, tinctures, smokables, bath salts, pain creams, topicals, vapes, candles, soaps, and more. Hop on the website, jump in the chat with the owners of the store, and they will answer any questions that you may have. If you have issues sleeping, you have chronic pain, anxiety, stress issues, you're going to want to head to rogueshop.com. Again, hop on the website, chat with the owners, and if you do purchase something, please use the promo code blue and gold, all one word, for 10% off your order. Again, folks, that is rogueshop.com, promo code blue and gold. All right, Mr. Hyde, let's get you back in here. The next topic here is this was a fun idea that you had.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're gonna run through the freshmen. And you're going to tell, and I will too. Someone asked me what were my grades. I didn't like my grades for the position groups. I don't know. I didn't do it. It's, I'll do like recruiting stuff. I'll give my thoughts on this stuff, obviously, but this is the Hyde show. We have the Goolsby show. I'll let those guys talk.
Yeah, I mean, you get your grade on receivers. You thought you're higher on them.
I'd be. I mean, I could. I just didn't. I kind of like to let these guys do the talking more than me, except for when I go on my rants or I want to talk about Taco Bell or.
No. This is senior right here. This is special.
All right. And I haven't gone. Have you gone through each name to figure out which way you'd go for all?
No,
these?
That's what I said. Pull them up and let's talk.
I haven't done it.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting one. The highest ranked player in the class per the On3 Industry ranking, Charles Jagasaw. He expects to play tackle. I think Goolsby called this, or maybe it was you. I think it was Goolsby though.
It was Mike. It was Goolsby.
That he thinks he's gonna be starting on the interior at some point this season. A BCSE or super chat. We'll get to that in a minute. Redshirt or play? What would you say for Charles Jagasaw? And again, you can play in 4 games.
Yeah.
So it's redshirt. Or you playing more than 5 games, I should say.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of Goolsby on this one. Just because he had the offseason little knee scope, got a little cleaned up, and Charles Jagasaw talked about this during O-line press conference day. So where he came into camp 335 pounds, so he's like, I'm in no shape whatsoever. And it was reported he was just getting thrown around like a rag doll early on, and he probably was because he was out of shape, hasn't done much, hasn't done a lot of lifting. So he has been running a ton with the number 2 guards in the past week as they get him tons of reps. That's going back to Carmody being injured, Kristofic being nicked up. So I am going to say redshirt. I think he's going to get 4 games. But in listening to Jagasaw's body language and his tone, he said he wants to redshirt. I want a redshirt. I got to get in shape. I want to get ready for next year. So I see him being a great practice player. I think he's going to be with Joe Rudolph. I don't see him playing any scout. I think he's going to be with Rudolph all year long, getting tons of reps. 4-game redshirt him.
Okay, real quick. I know folks. Whenever I say, Tim, we got to hustle this up. I know folks like, Singer, why do you say that? Can't you just go for 2 hours? 2 hours. We don't like you, Singer, but we love Hyde. Go 2 hours. I still have a practice video that Tyler and Jack did at 5:00.
That is true.
I edited all the clips. I have to put the video together. So I'm still doing that tonight. So, and then we have a recruiting show tomorrow at 10:30. we have our first morning show at Blue and Gold. So me and Kyle Kelly will be doing a recruiting show. So I got to prep a little bit for that. Yes, we actually prep for these shows a little bit.
Well,
So
yeah,
long way to say, Tim. We're gonna have to hustle this up a little bit.
Since I love O-line, I spent more time on Charles than I will anyone else. There we go.
I also wanted to plug our 10:30 a.m. show tomorrow. So please hang out with myself and Kyle Kelly. I'm also going to go redshirt. Not that I do think he's talented enough to play, but you kind of gave a good point about the knee scope and kind of getting his fitness together. Wow, fitness. I sound like a soccer guy. His health back in order. And then, they're 4 deep at guard already, with Coogan, Spindler, Stroud, Kristofik. I think they're fine there. Jeremiah Love, I would go. I think they're gonna burn his red shirt this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna play him. You don't take a top 100 type of running back out of SEC country and redshirt him. That's just my opinion. You play him. He's gonna get on special teams. He's gonna get some touches this year. So he may be the 4th or 5th back. He's gonna play in more than 4 games.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think a part of this is more guys just play now.
Yeah.
Like you see so many freshmen transfer after, so many guys transfer after their first season from a school because I think they were promised something on the recruiting trail and then they don't play and they get ticked off and leave. So I think you're going to see, I think this class is going to be a lot of guys much more than normal play compared to redshirt. I agree with you in that. Trash to see your super chat. We'll get to that in a minute too. I'm gonna say play there, and I'm gonna say play with Drake Bowen, Tim. Special teams guy from day one. I mean, if one of these inside backers has their belt buckle break, like you say, I think Bowen can go in there and play. What do you think?
100%. He's the backup Mike. I mean, I don't want to say backup Mike because the first Mike is going to be Maris Kaiser in for JD. So if JD's out, Kaiser's going to play Mike. But he on the depth chart, he's the backup Mike, but he's starting special teams. Drake Bowen is going to be the 2000 version of Mike Goolsby. Mike Goolsby came in with all the accolades, heck of a football player, came in and played special teams as he got ready to be the guy his junior year. So I think he's already starting on I think I read a couple special teams. So, which tells you the staff wants to get him on the field. So, yeah, he will be a sophomore starter at Texas A&M in 2024.
You think Kingston's his backup?
Ooh, good call. Look at you throwing out Kingston. Well, let's get Asa to sign. All right, we only talk to guys once they sign. Just don't start jinxing things, Mike.
Christian Gray, I think, is going to play for sure. You're going to play a lot of different corners. Christian Gray is an absolute stud. Love this kid off the field. His family, just such great people. Great player, twitchy athlete. Christian Gray is going to play football more than 4 games.
Without a doubt, I agree 100%.
Braylon James, an interesting one. And we're going in order of their On3 industry ranking just because that's the page I pulled up. But I'll let you go first, Tim. I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, all the reports are he's this year's Tobias. Tobias, that's another quick thing. I mean, Tobias would have redshirted last year. They had no wide receivers. They had none. So Tobias had to get in those games that he did. It sounds like by all reports, Braylon James is going to, be a 4-game, play 4 games redshirt, which I'm just going off of what it sounds like the coaches are saying and Braylon James. So it sounds like a redshirt year.
Yeah. All right. I think that's what 5 for 5. We're in agreement there.
This is easy here.
The scouting report for James coming in was extremely talented, but raw. And I think that's what you have seen. And I say you, I just mean like the folks watching practice, and I've seen every clip our guys have shot. So I think that's kind of been accurate.
Well, just 5 seconds on him, which I'll take a few more seconds. But the old timers who've been around like me know you get a raw wide receiver, throw him on go routes. 1992, Derek Mays. First 4 times he touched the ball, touchdowns, go routes. So you got to find a guy where just throw it up sometimes. So if that's what they're going to do with Braylon James and they want to try and keep working Colsey and guys like that, so be it. But he's a Texas guy. Man, I really hope they sit down with him 1,000 times and Braylon's 100% in agreement with all of this.
Another Texas guy, Jaden Greathouse. He's playing. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
There's
5
a lot of
seconds.
footballs this year. Kenny Minchie,
Redshirt.
third string. He's gonna redshirt.
Yeah, redshirt. Woo.
What do you think about Brennan Vernon from the Cleveland area, defensive lineman?
I'm going to say redshirt just because we haven't heard much about him. The only time we've ever really heard much about him is 3s on 3s, and it's going back to that end that you got vets, you got Nana, and you got Baptiste, you got 2 old dogs over there, and if they need a third DN, they're going to play what I call Steeler nickel, the 2 stand-up ends Pittsburgh Steelers made famous, Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green back in the heyday. That's the Sneed, the Maris, Tuliamaka, Botello type guys. I mean, they could play with those if they had to. So I would say redshirt. Don't want to say that because I love the kid, and I love. By the way, I love Goolsby saying he's this year's Rocco. I think that is perfect. There's no doubt about it. The love that Rocco had, I think Brendan Vernon's up there as well.
I don't think so.
Not as much as Rocco, because Rocco was just.
The thing is, it's always a skill player because it's a very basic thing. Like, oh, this is a 5-star receiver. We're not doing well in the passing game. Play the 5-star receiver. Play Tobias. Play Jordan Johnson. For whatever reason, Notre Dame's like Rocco Spindler was a super high profile, big drama recruitment.
Yes.
So I think Rocco kind of had a receiver, and not Rocco didn't create this. The fan base created it. It was kind of this big media frenzy, diva, social media. And I'm not saying Rocco's diva, not at all, but like that. So that was a very poor term, but just in terms of like the hype that was surround. And again, Rocco did nothing but play, but like the fans just kind of always talked about it. All the super judges. Oh, why isn't Jordan Johnson playing? Why isn't Jordan Johnson playing? I feel like Rocco, that was 2021. Did not mean to insinuate Rocco Spindler.
But the
could not be far from the truth.
But the 21 also was the spring. Rocco was always out there with the number 1s during spring football. During those little clips Notre Dame would send out. The O-line was horrible to start the year at guard, and that was the fandom. Like, well, just play Rocco, play Rocco, play Rocco. That's how that built up.
Yeah, and I don't think the fan base is going to be clamoring for Brennan Vernon.
No.
That's why I disagree with. But Goolsby just might be
as far as the fans.
I don't think the fans are going to be calling for Brennan Vernon. I think they'll be calling for like a Braylon James or Jeremiah Love.
Well, we're going to hear Braylon James. You know we're going to hear Braylon James.
Oh yeah,
Saturday nights.
I think for Kevin, I deserve that. Look up diva in the dictionary. You'll see a picture of Mike Singer. There you go. Rocco, you're not a diva at all. I don't believe like that. I meant just like it just drama queen. Like in terms of like the fans always talking about it's just drama. Like let's talk about Rocco Spindler. Like he's a freshman offensive lineman, guys. I'm just
I hear you.
Okay, you guys know what I mean. I hope. I'm gonna go 4 games. I think he's gonna play 4 games. It just makes sense. There's so much ahead of him.
Yeah.
As a summer enrollee too. It does pain me to say though, because I kind of agree with you. Yeah, now we're getting into some interesting ones. Tim, Jaden Osbury, the linebacker, heard really good things about him.
He's gonna play. He's gonna play. He's gonna play. I've one of the things I know Goolsby and I've always talked about. You recruit a linebacker or you recruit someone out of SEC country, you better play him. And you play him. You get him on the field, you play him. And going back to your point, then a lot of Horka has talked about him a ton. He's been outstanding in camp. He's been all over the place. He's going to be a special teamer. I bet you he touches that field every single game, some way, somehow on special teams. And he's definitely going to get some scrap iron time at the end of some of the games as well. So he's going to play.
All right. So we've been in agreement on all of these so far, I think, right? So
I love it.
Red shirt, right? We said Tragus red shirt.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we think 5 of them are playing. I'm going to need you guys to keep count of this, right? In the live chat. So 5 so far up to Osbury.
Yeah, big group playing.
Yeah. You convinced me. And I think 5 years ago he red shirts before, whenever it was before the four game rule.
Mm-hmm.
Depth for sure. But even just before NIL, even like college football was different back then. Like I just think now, like when the kids commit, they'll often say for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want to stick around for 5. They often do.
Yeah.
But I think Jaden Osbury is a guy who will play 4 years.
And also, Freeman in the recruiting staff, they send a billion offers down into SEC country, and no SEC guy's going to come unless their fellow brethren are playing. I believe that down in that part of the region, and that's why Snead's so important to get on the field and play. I think Osbury's going to play a bunch. I think he's going to burn his red shirt and play him.
I can already hear someone just giving me an angry email or call or text or something about what I said about Rocco. It's just not what I meant. That's not whatever. I'll deal with it when I get that phone call. Boubacar Traore.
Red shirt. Yeah,
really good in camp though.
Once again, it goes 3s on 3s. So yeah, him and Vernon have been lights out when they've gone 3s on 3s. We haven't heard about Traore, bull rushing and spin moving on Alton Fisher. It's been the 3s on 3s portion, which is great. It's great to hear how electric he is, how active he is, the athleticism he has. But he was also injured a ton as a senior, getting healthy. Summer and Roley. Let this guy develop. And plus, he's been more of a Viper, and they kind of got 3 Vipers already when you're going
Viper at 6'4", 250.
He's been playing Viper all camp.
Okay.
There's your crack staff, Tyler. Shoot him a quick text. But you got Patello as a senior, and then you got Burnham and Tulialamaka in the same class. So there's not a rush for Traore.
All right, so Flores, we both agree play. Yes. So I think that's 6. Devin Houston, red shirt.
Yeah.
Cooper Flanagan, play.
He's playing because he's on special teams. Like I said, I think I read today or yesterday that he's a starter on the kickoff return team, which means he's playing in 12 games. So he's playing.
Yeah, and I think he's going to play. I mean, I don't know how much 13, 14 personnel Notre Dame's going to be doing, but Flanagan.
But there's your tight end in the goal line. That's going to, when they go down heavy and they go the jumbo package, that's the guy you get on there as a third tight end. So he's definitely going to burn his red shirt.
All right, so we're at 7 right now. Micah Bell, red shirt.
Red shirt.
Sullivan Absher, red shirt.
Red shirt.
Don Schuler, Tim?
Red shirt. Red shirt.
Agree. Ben Minnick, red shirt.
Minnick,
it's starting to get easier now.
Oh, yeah. I think we're done in about 4 seconds, so here we go.
Okay, Otting, red shirt. Pendleton, red shirt. Mookum, red shirt.
Zinter, red shirt.
Don't be surprised. Tim, have you seen the clips of him?
I'll be very surprised if he plays because I just think there's just older.
Yeah, I agree. But have you seen clips of him? Like he looks the same as Bowen. Like physically, they look the same. Like
he had a solid, going back to the spring game, he looked outstanding in the fourth quarter. But that's fourth quarter spring game players. We love Zinter. You and I know we've talked about him a ton during his recruiting. And that's a guy that could go play tight end today, and he could be a Notre Dame starter at tight end someday. He could be a Viper. He could be a Mike. He could multiple positions. So, hey, the stock's up on him. He is going to be a heck of a football player at Notre Dame someday.
I agree. I would say red shirt, but he is my one that I wouldn't be surprised.
I like that. And now, you know what? And if there is one that slips in, man, I would say if there's one that slips in, I'm going to say Boubacar. Because I think if there's one down the road, let's say after a month, after Ohio State, as they get the second half of the season starts to kick in, I would say Traore, just because of his pass rush, maybe he just becomes a third down guy. That would be my pick as an upset special. You got Zinner. We're both going Massachusetts. There you go.
No, I'm changing my mind. The Vernon one, I don't know.
All right.
I might even put him as he's going to play. I don't know. Vernon's tough. Vernon, I think, will be close. I don't know.
Is he that third end over there? Obviously, with Aiden Gobira out for the year, is Vernon that third? He's that third end. So he is the third one, correct? But that's going back to my point. If If
I think injuries,
Baptiste
Tim.
is out and it's Nana, they could play Nana a ton. He could play 55 snaps a game, and then the rest of the snaps, if he even plays, let's say he plays 45 snaps a game, then the rest of your time you're doing nickel and you're doing dime. So you're going your stand-up end. So I'm going to stick with Vernon as a redshirt.
Okay. We're talking about this as if the team is completely healthy. So, of course, we can't project injuries, but something about Vernon, I feel like he might be. I don't know. Okay, a couple super chats, and we're gonna wrap up today's show. BC with $5. Appreciate this. Says Coach Marcus Freeman was fired up in practice. Do you think he'll be more animated this year on the sidelines, suggesting he's more comfortable?
Well, I'll jump in there right away. I watched the
Presser.
the bowl game last night. Well, the
Oh,
bowl
okay.
game again last night, and he was fired up times 10 in that bowl game. So maybe we'll show a little bit more animation, just a little bit more hype, just to have those players feed off him a lot more. Because going back Ohio State game, which I broke down a month ago, he was just calm, collective, had his little 2x2 notebook, writing little tiny notes no one reads. And at the end of the year, he's like, hell no, man, let's get hyped. So maybe he will start to show that more of that linebacker instinct and be a little bit more animated with these guys, which he's been in all the pre-practices, that Tyler's been at.
He's like, Freeman's usually pretty open. Like he said before, and I'm paraphrasing, something like he would talk about these big expectations at the beginning of the year in 2022 about, hey, this is what we're going to go do. And now he's like, I learned from that. Like, we're going game by game with this. Does that sound familiar, Tim? Did he say that? I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's like worrying about all these things. It's like, holy moly, man.
I think last year in his head, he was like, this is what I'm going to be. And now I think he's just letting loose a little bit more.
I think you're
right.
I
think he's going to be much more animated. And you've seen a lot of team speeches, fiery team speeches, from practices. So I do think that. And then Trash says, hey, Coach Hyde here. Have you seen players fight over certain jersey numbers? Which number and why CJ Carr might take Holden's?
Fight as in a full-blown boxing match?
Coaches argue.
Little bull in the ring and we go crazy? No. Definitely some arguments, and then you just work those issues out. You work those issues out. But does CJ Carr want that number? We don't know yet, do we? So great question. So if CJ Carr wants that number and Holden Stays goes out and has 22 catches this year, 4 touchdowns, does he say, well, I'm here. I'm going into my junior year, so who knows? That's an interesting one. Yeah, but definitely a few arguments over the years about numbers. People love numbers, man. Numbers hold special meaning.
Yeah, Holden Stays wears 13 right now. Carr's wears 13, and Carr's coming in with a lot of hype. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of interested to see what would happen there.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things. Just like,
hey,
talk about that in 2024.
Exactly. But if he comes and lays an egg next spring, Freeman's like, yeah, you're gonna wear 19. So there you go, CJ. So who knows, right?
I feel like when, like, in an NFL deal where that happens, the guy coming in,
I know that happens a bunch,
buys the jersey number.
Yes.
CJ Carr gonna, give Holden some NIL money for his.
But also, to CJ, if he wants 13, who knows what? Is that something that holds significance? That's a great question, because that's a Marcus Freeman one that he gets to deal with when that time comes. And I wonder if CJ's already talked about it, because Asa already talked about it when he committed, like, hey, I already got 27 next year, JD Bertrand. So there you go. So that was an easy one.
Yeah. All right, Tim, fun show. Yeah. Disappointed we didn't get to yell at each other.
Man, we are here, Mike. Seriously, a week from Saturday, you and I are going to be rushing to get on live, put our tie on, and have fun and talk about Navy. So I'm expecting to see a lot of football players. Don't want to give an early prediction, but it's going to be nice, man. We're finally here. We're finally here, which is awesome.
I think on the Sunday show, or maybe it was our show last week, with me and you. I said that this week or today we're gonna do a season prediction show. I'm an idiot and miscounted a week. We're gonna do that this upcoming Wednesday. So Tim's gonna go game by game. Maybe I will too. We'll see. Maybe we'll have work on or something, and we'll predict Notre Dame's season. Maybe we can do some kind of like over under prop bet type stuff too, Tim.
Get out your favorite our boys at the Odd Shark, and let's do a few. Let's see if they got some early predictions. Let's throw some scores out. Come back on our on a December show, and let's see how we did. I think that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Predict some scores, like kind of like Blue and Gold, the Illustrated magazine. You know, the yearbook they do.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for today's show. If you have not done so yet, hit the thumbs up on this video. And so, of course, subscribe to our channel for more content if you have not done so. Head to blueandgold.com. So much more coverage from today's practice, the last media availability practice. And then, yeah, I think they practice. Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then they're off Saturday, Sunday, I think, and then Monday game week. So we'll have so much coverage leading up to Navy. 10:30 a.m. Thursday recruiting show. Later Wednesday night, I'll have the practice report finally posted from the guys on our YouTube channel. So as always, a lot to check out right here on our YouTube page and blueandgold.com. As always, we appreciate you folks, and we will catch you next time.